Hi, I'm Bruce. After 15 years as a recruiter at BCG, I'm here to bust the 5 biggest myths about landing an interview at consulting firms. Now let's bust them wide open and get started. Let's kick things off with the first myth. You need a big brand name to break into consulting. Here's the reality. Sure, having a big name company or a prestigious school on your resume can help, but it's far from the only way in. Consulting firms are looking for a lot more than just the brand name. They want to see what you've done, how you think, and what kind of impact you've made. It's about your skills, your experiences, and your ability to contribute something unique. What really matters? Leadership, problem solving, and the ability to drive results. Consulting is all about making an impact. So firms are looking for proof that you've done that in the past, no matter where you worked or studied. You don't need a big brand name school or company to show that. Let me give an example from one of our alumni at my consulting offer, 𝗢𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗲. She's originally from India and came to the U.S. to study at a non-target school in Florida. She didn't have the name drop of an Ivy League or top tier university. Right after college, she worked at a local logistics company, but what she did have was a proven ability to drive change and leadership experience. 𝗢𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗲 led a project that streamlined the company's supply chain process, cutting operating costs by over 15%. She identified key inefficiencies, collaborated with teams to develop a new system, and delivered measurable results just by taking ownership of the problem and solving it together. See, her achievements still stand out in my memory. When 𝗢𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗲 applied, she didn't focus on where she went to school or the size of her company. She focused on her impact, her leadership, her ability to drive measurable results, and her problem-solving skills. And guess what? 𝗢𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗲𝗲 ended up getting countless interviews with top consulting firms. After all those opportunities, 𝗢𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗲𝗲 chose to join BCG, where she felt she could make the most impact and grow the most. So if you're worried about not having a brand name school or company on your resume, just remember 𝗢𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗲𝗲's story. It's all about demonstrating what you've achieved and the value you've brought to the table, regardless of where you've come from. Next up, let's bust the myth that you need a business degree or background to break into consulting. Now, I can't tell you how often I've heard this one, and I'm here to tell you it's just not true. Consulting firms aren't only looking for people with business degrees. In fact, they're actively seeking candidates from all sorts of backgrounds: STEM, humanities, healthcare, you name it. Business knowledge, sure, it's useful, but you can pick that up as you go. What firms are really after are the skills like critical thinking, problem solving, and the ability to communicate your ideas clearly. If there's one story I love to share, it's a story of 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗲𝗲, one of our awesome alumni at my consulting offer. You see, David didn't have a business degree. Nope, he had a degree in sports management, and he was actually a college football coach before making the jump into consulting. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does a football coach land a job at a top consulting firm? Well, let me tell you, it's all about transferable skills. David was an incredible leader, a strategic thinker, and he had a knack for handling high-pressure situations, all things that are super important in consulting. When he applied to Oliver Wyman, a huge consulting firm, they didn't just see a coach. They saw someone who could lead teams, make quick decisions, and think on his feet. Those are the exact qualities firms are looking for. David's success story is one I always bring up when people ask about backgrounds in consulting. It's proof that what firms are really looking for isn't what degree you have, but how you think and what you bring to the table. You don't have to come from a traditional business background to get into consulting. What matters is that you can demonstrate leadership, problem solving, and a fresh perspective. So if you're sitting there thinking, I don't have a business degree, can I still make it? Absolutely. Just like 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲, you can break into consulting with the right skills and mindset. It's all about showing that what you've done and how your experiences, no matter what they are relevant to the work you'll be doing in consulting. All right, let's dive into myth number 3. If you didn't land a consulting internship, you're basically out of the game for a full-time role. I get it. This one can be really discouraging. You might think, if I didn't get that coveted consulting internship, that's it, my shot is over. But here's the truth. Consulting firms are way more open-minded than you might think. Many consultants actually land full-time roles without ever having done a consulting internship. Seriously. Consulting firms understand that there are different paths to get into consulting. Maybe you didn't have the chance to intern at McKinsey or Bain, but that doesn't mean you can't land the full-time role. What matters more is the specific internship experience is is the skills you developed and how you can demonstrate that you're ready for the role. Let me tell you about one of our alumni at my consulting offer, Frank. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, I'm just making this stuff up, let me clear the air. We've helped over 800 people break into consulting, so trust me, I've got plenty of stories to share. And hey, if you're skeptical, just check out our reviews. The link's in the description. Frank didn't have a consulting internship. Instead, he was working in material science and engineering, a field that is pretty far from traditional consulting, right? But here's the thing. He wasn't discouraged. Through that role, he built some seriously valuable skills, managing cross-functional teams, solving complex problems, and diving deep into data analysis. Guess what? Those are the exact same skills that consulting firms eat up. When Frank applied for a full-time consulting role, he didn't sweat what he didn't have, like a consulting internship. Instead, he doubled down on what he did bring to the table: transferable skills, leadership, and a track record of delivering results. And that's exactly what helped him land the job. The key takeaway here is that it's not about whether or not you've had a consulting internship. It's about how you can show that you have the skills, problem-solving abilities, and leadership potential that firms are looking for. You want to highlight your transferable skills, demonstrate your capacity to learn quickly, and position yourself as someone who has the potential to succeed in consulting, even if you've never worked in that exact industry. So, if you didn't get that consulting internship, don't stress. Show the firms what you can bring to the table and how you've prepared yourself for a career in consulting through other experiences. With the right mindset and a strong focus on your transferable skills, you can definitely land that full-time offer. Let's talk about one of the biggest misconceptions. You need a perfect GPA to break into consulting. Spoiler alert, it's just not true. Firms look at the whole picture, not just your grades. We had a coachee before. His name was Sonny. Honestly, Sonny's story still amazes me. When I first met him, he was this super shy guy who barely said a few words. He had a 3.0 GPA, majored in philosophy, and came from a non-target school in Canada. Not exactly what you would expect from someone breaking into PwC in Hong Kong, right? But here's the thing about Sonny. He was willing to grow. Leadership doesn't always mean being the loudest person in the room. It can start small, and Sonny did just that. He joined a campus club, quietly taking charge of event planning and budgeting. During an internship at an NGO, he came up with a creative fundraising campaign that boosted donations by 20%. These weren't flashy moves, but they made a real impact. And with some coaching, Sonny learned to communicate those achievements like a pro. He went from shy and reserved to someone who could confidently tackle case problems and own his own story in interviews. And guess what? PwC saw his potential. Today, he's thriving as a consultant in their Hong Kong office. So if you're sitting there thinking, my GPA isn't great, or I'm not a natural leader, let Sonny's journey inspire you. Consulting firms want problem solvers, team players, and people who create impact in their own way. Build your narrative, lean into your strengths, and show them what you got. You're capable of more than you think. Myth number 5, if you were rejected before, you'll be rejected again. All right, let's talk about something that I know messes with a lot of people's heads. Rejection. It happens, right? You apply, go through the whole process, and then, bam, you get that dreaded email or call saying, thanks, but no thanks. And for many candidates, that's where they stop. They think, well, that's it. It's over. I'm never going to get into consulting. But I'm here to tell you that's absolutely not the case. Reapplying to consulting firms is way more common than you think. In fact, some of the top consultants you see today didn't get hired on their first, second, or even third try. Trust me, I've seen this happen with so many people. They didn't make it the first time, but instead of giving up, they came back. They reapplied, improved their skills, and landed the offer. It's all about growth, persistence, and resilience. So if you've been rejected, don't let that define you. It's part of the journey. I've worked with candidates like Connor. He was rejected from BCG when he first applied during undergrad. It was a tough moment for him, but he didn't give up. Instead, he took that feedback seriously, worked on his skills, gained more experience, and then after 3 years, he reapplied. And this time, he got the offer. What's incredible about Connor's story is that he didn't have the typical consulting background. He had a liberal arts degree, and he spent a summer working with a nonprofit in Ghana. That gave him a completely different perspective on leadership and problem solving, things that really helped him stand out when he came back for round 2. This is why I tell candidates, if you've been rejected, don't take it personally. Use that rejection as motivation to grow and improve. Take the time to refine your case interviews, gain more experience, or show how you've addressed feedback. Rejection doesn't doesn't mean it's over. It's part of the process, and it can lead to bigger opportunities down the road. So if you've been rejected, don't be discouraged. Keep working on yourself, keep refining your approach, and come back stronger than ever. Because so many consultants didn't make it the first time, but they did make it eventually, and so can you. And that's a wrap on the myths about getting into consulting. I hope this has cleared up some of the biggest misconceptions. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you thinking about applying to a consulting firm, or maybe you've already been through the process? Drop the name of the firm you're targeting in the comments below, and I'll share some tailored resources to help you nail those interviews and land your dream consulting job. So, for example, if you comment BCG, I'll send you some resources for landing an offer at BCG. And if you are 100% sure of pursuing a consulting career at BCG or other amazing firms, I would love to help you. Our team of former consulting recruiters and interviewers have created a free training where we share the secrets on how to get and pass your interviews and land your dream consulting job, regardless of your background. All you have to do is click on the link below, and that's it. You'll be on your way to your dream consulting job. But you don't have to take my word for it. Hear from Connor himself, our myth 5 example. Remember, he got into BCG despite being rejected previously. I'll link to his videos somewhere beside me. Okay, that's it for now. I'll see you in the next video.